32 pilots, 4 of us came home. So I spent 19 months there in combat. 6 times I had an engine shot out, and I was able to evade the enemy and to make it home safely back to our base. The 7th time I did get shot down. I bellied it on the Burma Road, just south of Mandalay.
87-year-old Bill Barron spent 19 months flying a P-38 out of the Bay of Bengal during World War II. He had to watch over his shoulder not only for the enemy, a Japanese airstrip 90 miles away, but also for the denizens of the jungle, tigers and poisonous snakes.
And the P-38 was a workhorse. It did everything. First of all, it was a fighter plane. The plane flew just beautifully, just absolutely beautifully. It had twin engines, but they had counter-rotating props, so there was no torque in the airplane. It flew like you drive an automobile. It stayed clear for you. It had tremendous firepower, so if we shot anything, it was going to wound it or knock it out of the sky.
So I called Bill and
so I said, "This is he."
I introduced myself and I told him I model airplanes and I want to do a 459 airplane.
He said, well, your plane was called the Joaquin Siren? I said, yes.
The result of this conversation was 3 years' worth of phone calls as the two men discussed the details of creating an exact replica of Barron's World War II P-38.
Every number had to be identical. Every part of the plane had to be exactly the same as the plane that I flew.
The passion that drove model builder Greg Zola resulted in a radio-controlled aircraft, complete down to the pilot in the cockpit.
Like the cockpit, just that, there is probably 16 hours in that.
Zola estimates he spent thousands of hours and much more than that.
I quit keeping track after I crossed the $5,000.
However, the intense research and building were only the first steps in this distant partnership. The plane had to fly.
Ironically enough, there's a lot of guys that build P-38s, but you never see them. They always become hangar queens because they're either afraid to fly them because of the amount of money involved in it and the amount of work that got to go into it.
Zola steered his model through 2 test flights on a grass field in Wheeler, Illinois. Then he loaded everything into his pickup truck on Friday, November 3rd for the 2-day trip to Stockton, California, where Bill Barron's lives. Sunday, November 4th finds both men at a model airplane field near Modesto, putting the model back together. The airstrip is on a rise above Woodward Reservoir. It's a windy day. Members of the radio-controlled Flyers Unlimited take turns piloting their models of all sizes and shapes. Greg Zola is now ready for the best part of building a model airplane.
Yeah, I build them to fly them. I don't build hangar queens.
What's the best part about this?
The enjoyment of seeing something I've put together work.
When I saw it and the gracefulness and everything, I determined that this is what I was going to fly. He's got it crossed.
Too slow for one thing.
You know, it absolutely looks like a real plane.
Yeah.
It was a crosswind, and I'm not real thrilled about crosswind landings. Anyway, even with an airplane in a field I'm familiar with. And then the other problem was I let it get too slow. Hey, it was worth it.
Unknown to Greg Zola at the time,
He did this all the way through right to crashing the plane. On the Burma Road, when I went down the Burma Road, this is what happened, just like this.
I wasn't trying to mimic that by any means. It just turned out that way. Realistic, did you check that out? That's how a real one does.
for Think News, this is Cyndy Green reporting.